Today, we're talking about raising courageous kids. If you missed my Father Words video this week, I encourage you to go back and watch it first. I promise I'll be right here when you get back. You know, I love the story of David and Goliath, don't you? That I shared earlier on this week and it was all about courage. It's a great story to share with your kids and teach them about courage as well. It's found in 1 Samuel 17, 12 through 50. And what's interesting to me is how all of the adults treated David in this story. His older brothers mocked him for speaking out courageously. The King Saul dismissed him for just being a boy, not knowing anything about a real battle. None of them realized that God was preparing him to do a mighty work through David, someone no one expected, so that God could get all the glory. Don't we do the same things as parents? I remember in the early days of being a dad, always trying to be the hero by rescuing my kids from their problems and making fathering all about moi. I thought that they were too young to fight their own battles, that they couldn't possibly go and fight a giant on their own. Beloved, when we dismiss our kids as too young to exhibit real faith, we deny them the opportunity to take risks for God and to see Him move. When we try to rescue our kids from hard things, we rob them of the chances to use courage and to see God fight for them. What I didn't understand was that my kids needed to discover for themselves that God has their back and will fight their giants for them. Later in his life, David wrote in the Psalms 138, verse 3, "As soon as I pray, you answer me. You encourage me by giving me strength." So young David found his strength in God as a young shepherd boy. He had had so many opportunities where he had to trust God and watch God to move. He was all alone out there. David was courageous because he knew that God had his back. But David didn't learn courage until he faced his fear with God alone. See, that's the key. Courage grows in our kids when they experience God backing them up too. So how do we teach our kids and teach that to our children? For starters, let's stop dismissing our children and their problems as too young and unimportant. Let's start looking at their problems as giants that our kids are really facing, maybe in school with their friends. Then we can help them be courageous and face their own giants by trusting in God who has their back and is fighting for them. You see, David claimed that as soon as he prayed, God answered him, and that will help him be a giant killer too. So here's what you do. When you see this in your children and they are afraid and they're going, "Dad, I need your help. I need you to rescue me," bring them to that time of prayer and say, "Okay, what do you want God to do for you?" And get them to pray out loud. And I got to tell you, every time my kids did that and said, "God, will you do this for me?" Guess what happened? God came through. And that's how they learn. I hope that's blessed you. Hey, beloved, I am doing these shows every week to help you to not just survive, but thrive in your family story. Did you know that your family on your block will probably be the hope of your whole neighborhood? But building a great family takes work, doesn't it? But I know you can get there because God got me there in many ways. And I want to help you make even a bigger impact on your family. I built an entire series designed to equip you to be the father or mother your family really needs you to be. It's called Blessing of the Father for Families. We're doing it in churches all over the country. There's lots more information in this series than I can fit in these little weekly times together. So I encourage you to check it out. And finally, beloved, it is never too late for God to heal your family story.
I ain't good enough, but he still loves me.